Hey, Tiger fans, Mark Fitzpatrick, it's Tiger Club of Kansas City. It is March 19th. We're at the Westport Flea Market, one of our all-time favorite speakers from the Kansas City Star, Blair Kerkhoff. Blair, thanks for joining us. We didn't talk a lot of on-the-field stuff today.
No. Part of that's the timing,
Right.
But the fact that Missouri, I believe, fell short on the NCAA tournament bracket this year. They
Yeah,
didn't quite get there.
we were one of the last 40
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's tough.
Yeah.
Tough season for Mizzou and Dennis Gates' program. But you're right. It's when you get seasons like that, you talk a little bit about it, but mostly it's off-field and off-court issues.
Number one, to our interest, the Mizzou athletic director search. I think we're 4 weeks into since Desiree left. Do you hear anything? It just seems awful quiet about who could be a candidate.
It is quiet, and often in situations like this, you immediately come up with a list of names. I've seen scant few, and I haven't seen any real reporting on who's going to be the successor here. Of course, they have the interim, but they got to get through, the NCAA wrestling tournament
Right,
coming this weekend,
right.
with Missouri having a role in that, hosting it, in fact, and then all the spring sports, softball doing so well. So yeah, there's still some work to be done in the school year. I don't have a sense of the timetable though for the athletic director. Do they want to let the year play out? Do they? But it was very unexpected that Missouri would be in this position in the first place.
Yes, it was, and hopefully they'll get resolved soon because there's some decisions that need to be made regarding personnel and improvements that are scheduled for
No
it.
doubt.
So, the other big topic of the day was the downtown stadium, or the sales to extend the sales tax. It's going to be a tight vote, I think. You're used to working the old Star building, so it's going to be on the peripheral. So, what are your thoughts about downtown stadium?
Well, my first thought is I need to be convinced that it's necessary to have a new ballpark. Now, enough people for the Royals seem to think that, including John Sherman. So I'll trust his judgment on that. That for the Royals to compete financially in baseball's future, it needs the revenue from a new ballpark. Okay, I'll trust the owner to provide that information. I'll have if the vote passes and that begins the process of a new downtown ballpark in the Crossroads District area. I'll have a wave of nostalgia come over me because I've loved going to Kauffman Stadium all these years. I know a lot of people have over the United, not just in Kansas City, but around the Midwest. And so we'll lose that. It's such a unique situation in that the Royals and the Chiefs are together on this, right? It's a lease for both teams at the Truman Sports Complex. So this 3/8 cent sales tax, the extension of which would help the Chiefs and the Royals. It would help the Royals begin the process of the downtown ballpark. The Chiefs would be refurbishing Arrowhead. They would take over the entire sports complex. Clark Hunt says he's not interested in leaving that area.
Right.
So they would make improvements to the fan amenities and have a lot of things going on out there, the Chiefs. So it's a big emotional decision in Kansas City. I sense that the passionate side is the yes side, voting for the extension of the sales tax. We'll see what happens. I do expect it to be a pretty close vote.
Count me as the passionate side. So I have the sign in my yard, but yes, I was at the first game at Kauffman Stadium in 1973.
How about that? 1973.
Yeah. John Mayberry hit a home run. So
Twins.
Texas.
Texas.
It was against Texas,
and they won.
They won. Big. Yeah, it was about 30 degrees. Anyway, moving on to other topics. Talk about the Chiefs a little bit. It seems to be a good offseason. Re-signed Chris Jones. Hollywood Brown really appears to add some talent to the receiving
at a
corps.
position they need.
Looking forward to the draft. And where do you think they'll go in the draft?
Right. So the draft's coming up in April. Kind of the next big thing. Even with the addition of Hollywood Brown, I think the Chiefs would like to see add another receiver. And it's a draft that is deep in wide receiver. So even drafting at number 32, assuming the Chiefs don't trade up and get a better position, I think a quality wide receiver will be available there at 32. There's some other positions that they're looking at, of course, but even with the acquisition of Brown, I think wide receiver is the way to go this for the Chiefs.
Royals will be starting here in a week, all right, 9 days from today. Good off-season acquisitions, I think, with Waka, Lugo, some depth in the position players. We say they're going to be better. They can't be worse.
106 losses.
Yeah, but they in a weak Central Division. Can they contend for a playoff spot?
Yeah. Can you think of the additions being good enough to get them to a position where they're playing meaningful baseball in September, which is what we haven't had in 4, 5, 6 years, maybe even longer than that. That's what the hope is, right? Just play meaningful baseball. They're in the weakest division. You don't have to win 95 games to win the AL Central. You can, get to 80-ish, low 80s, and then be right there. And yes, I do think that it's possible. Second year of Matt Cotrero as manager. They spent money, invested in the club in a way that to give Bobby Witt Jr. that long-term deal, that was amazing. It was great to see that the Royals spending money for a future star, bolstered their starting rotation. Bullpen's interesting. They've got a lot of new pieces, but players we were used to seeing in previous years are taking sort of a secondary role in this, which means they think they've improved the bullpen. I think the lineup is stronger than it was a year ago. It's time for some of these younger players, the Vinny Pasquantinos and Nick Prado, and to start being the major league stars are projected to be.
And interesting, one of the big discussion points: who's going to be the fifth starter? Whereas our projected fifth starter, Jordan Lyles, was number 2 starter last year.
Number 2, and he lost, I forgot how many games he ended up losing, but it was a ton.
Tough season.
Yep. My guess is Alec Marsh is going to end up being the fifth starter, and he's had a good spring. And look, the fact that we're talking about fifth starter question and not number 2 or number 3 means the Royals are in better shape.
Let's go full circle, come back and close with Mizzou. Despite the issues with the athletic department, a lot to look forward to in the football season.
My gosh, that's one thing we talked about. If you had to be good someplace, let it be football, and Missouri is that. And just finished spring football with Eli Drinkwitz's team. I think they're going to be preseason top 20 and picked to finish in the top quarter. I would think maybe just outside of the SEC. Coming off 11-2 in the Cotton Bowl victory with the quarterback returning and a lot of good offensive pieces, I'm pretty high on the Tigers this year. I can't wait for this football season.
All right, Blair, thank you as always. Great friend of the club, and now a member of the State of Missouri Hall of Fame. Congratulations on that honor. Hey, next week, and I'm going to butcher his name, Brendon Steenbergen, who is the author of a book about the 1916 Mizzou football team, one of the greatest teams in our history. He will be our last speaker. For correct spelling and pronunciation of his name, go to kctigerclub.com. This will be our last meeting for this year. And then our next event will be June 24th, the annual golf tournament at Loch Lloyd, which is filling up fast. So make sure you get online and register. For more information, go to kctigerclub.com.